Well, welcome. Welcome to this module about the CRI online, where we are going to provide you with practice with miscues. We're going to use the story entitled The Vacation. The assumptions we have that you have downloaded and printed out a copy of The Vacation. And this is what your copy should look like. You will have this available as you watch and listen to this PowerPoint. Before we set you off on the task, we're going to provide you with some reminders. You are going to mark the miscues as I take the role of a struggling reader. Now, if I make a substitution, you will draw a line through the word in the text and then write the substituted word above that text word, and that is scoreable. Insertions. That means if I insert a word or a phrase, you place the insert symbol in the exact spot in the text where the insertion was made, and then you write the word or the words that were inserted, and that is also scoreable. If there's an omission, you mark an X right over the word or words that were omitted, and that is also scoreable. A self-correction. Watch here. You write the miscue, whatever it be, substitution, insertion, or omission. And then, when the correction is made, you draw a line under the words that were reread so that the correction could be made. But notice, then you'll put a little check with that underline and an SC. This type of miscue is not scoreable. So, you're going to then code them. So, after we're through the miscue coding, you then go back and analyze each miscue to determine A, if the miscue maintained meaning, or B, if that miscue violated meaning. Then you're going to go to the line in the text where the miscue was made, and you're going to put the code in the margin in front of the line. So if a meaningful substitution is made, you're going to put a plus, because that plus means meaningful. You can, in the parentheses, put a letter for the type. So some people do, some people don't. Now, if the substitution violated meaning, on the other hand, you're going to put an O there in front of the line where the miscue was made. If there is an insertion that's meaningful, you'll put a plus. You can put a little I there to remind you of the type. But if the insertion violated meaning, you put a 0. If there's an omission, you put a plus. If the omission violated meaning, you put a 0. Remember, a meaningful omission plus one that violates meaning, 0. Notice here, remember, the self-correction. You're going to put an SC and you can put your little check. But don't forget, that is not scoreable. So the summary. First, as I am role-playing, you are going to code on your sheet. I'm going to use the pace of a 4th or 5th grade student, all right? Now, after you've decided whether it maintained meaning or violated, you put at the margin, you code that. Then at the very bottom of the page, you're going to summarize them. You're going to total all the pluses, put that number here, all the violators, and put that number there. How many self-corrections were made? Now notice here, NW, as you know, stands for non-word. Now keep in mind, if a non-word were to be made, that would be one that violated, so it would be counted here. But here, only those that were non-words get coded here. All right? Let's go. Get your paper out, get your pencil, and you be the reading specialist as this 5th grader reads the story. The Vacation. Juan burst into his sister's room. Only 8 more days, he shouted. I started packing already, said Maria. I can't wait to see what Florida is like. Juan and Maria had started every day the last 2 weeks talking about their Florida vacation. Mom and Dad were just as eager as they were. But that evening, when Father walked into the house looking like a ghost with "What's wrong?" Ghost, "What's wrong?" Mother asked. No more overtime for the rest of the year. He staggered, and Mother knew that they were going to use the overtime money to pay for the hotel rooms and the plane tickets to Florida. This was their first family vacation. Mr. Ruiz struggled as he told the children that they would have to cancel their vacation. Juan ran up to his room crying, while Maria hugged her father and sobbed. Let me see what I can do, said Mrs. Ruiz, and she left the room. She was smiling from ear to ear when she returned. I just spoke with my brother Sal, and he said that we could use his van to drive to Florida, and we can stay with his wife's sister. Maria was excited with the news, but Juan was angry. That wasn't the fun vacation he had been dreaming of for weeks. He had never flown on an airplane, and he had never stayed in a hotel. During the trip, the family stopped to look at different sights along the way, but every time Juan refused to leave the van. He was irritated with their jabbering about what they had seen at each stop. The following day, Juan again sat in the van while the others went out to see a nearby river. Suddenly, Maria came rushing back to the van. Juan, Juan, she called. Hurry, there's an alligator. Juan jumped out of the van and dashed the quarter-mile to where his parents were standing. You missed it, said his father sadly. It's gone. Maria, Mom, and Dad told Juan how they first saw the alligator sunning itself on the bank of the river. Maria had quietly run back to get Juan, but a squawking bird startled the alligator, and it dashed into the river. Everyone saw how disgusted Juan was, and no one said a word for over 20 minutes. You know, Juan, began Mother. I know, Mom, Juan said. I've been missing out on one of the best chances I've ever had, but I won't do it again. All right, our reader has finished, and you now have the task. Analyze, code the miscues. Then move to the next PowerPoint and check your work. We'll see you very soon.